Hi everyone, I'm going to do a video response to Ember HoneyRaven's Halloween or scary movie tag. I was actually just eating dinner and I came across it. Um, but instead of just writing my answers in her comment box, I decided to make a video, mostly because I want to take a break from writing this stupid Shakespeare paper. So instead of just doing 3 that she asked, I decided to split it up between 3 scary movies that I absolutely hate, and then 3 scary movies that I actually enjoy watching. I don't personally enjoy scary movies. I never have. I don't like being scared. I know that makes me sound like a weenie. I just never have. And this is also sounds really bad, but Halloween is like one of my least favorite holidays. Don't like it. I think part of it was a traumatic experience that I had when I was like 9. Maybe I was younger than that. I don't know. When I was trick-or-treating, very, very terrifying. I was chased around this woman's driveway by the owner of the house while she was in her costume. I was literally chased around her car by her in her driveway, and that scared the shit out of me. So, yeah. Yeah. So the issue with the ones that I don't like, I don't enjoy, is that, I might go to like 3.5 because, one thing I'm probably gonna list is not actually a film. It was an episode of a show. But first, the first movie that I do not like is It. And I watched that when I was a teenager. I was probably maybe 15 when I watched it for the first time, and I already had an issue with clowns before. My issues with clowns are that nobody should be that happy all the time. And when I see somebody who looks like they're happy all the time, I think sociopath or psychopath, or I don't know anything about psychology, so those terms may be incorrect, but you know what I mean, like something's not right. Like if something horrible happened, a stupid massacre and some shit, and somebody's still happy about it, I feel like they lack feeling, so that's probably my biggest issue. But yeah, It. Clowns are fucking scary. I had an issue with who played him? I don't fucking know. But that actor. I know his face. I just can't think of the name right now. Him. There's this one, I think it's in the very, very beginning. Maybe it's like the second kid that he kills. I don't remember. There's a part when he's like in the, oh my god. Why can't I think of the word? You guys, sorry, I'm brain dead right now. But the part when he's like, where the water like flows down into the street and goes underneath. You know what I'm fucking talking about? I can't think. A storm drain, or maybe not a storm drain, but you know what I'm fucking talking about. And the little kid like lost. No, he has like that stupid little boat, and he's like letting it go down the stupid thing of water, like against the stupid sidewalk, and you see the clown's head just whoop out of the like. Ah, it's so creepy, and I think I have an issue with people suddenly appearing, and I have an issue with like so being startled, and then his teeth were probably a big thing in it. Scarlet likes to bark at all things. Scar! Okay. Yeah, had an issue with his teeth. And when you go, you know, like try to attack the kids and an issue with the teeth. There were a lot of things I had an issue with. Surprisingly, though, I didn't have an issue with him being a spider at the end. And for the people who haven't seen it, I just ruined the ending for you. But if you still want to be creeped the fuck out, you can still watch it. The second one would be The Woman in Black, and I know that sounds really cheesy. I've let other people watch it, and I actually went and saw it at the movie theater with my friend, and I own it too. That's that's a weird movie because I hate it, but I kind of like it at the same time. I'm the kind of person where if I watch something that really scares the shit out of me, I'll keep thinking about it afterwards, and I can't sleep that night, like I'm really freaked out. So, of course, after we left the movie theater, I'm in my car, and I'm, thinking that I'm seeing this stupid woman in black, and it scares the shit out of me, right? It's kind of like one of those things where, I could have put The Ring up there in this category. I had an issue with that too afterwards, because then it's like that weird psychological thing where they're talking about watching this movie and then you're watching it too. It's kind of like Midsummer Night's Dream where you're watching a dream within a dream sort of a thing, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna die because I watched it through the stupid, you know what I mean? And I did have an issue with The Ring. I had the issue with the guy being electrocuted with the horse, thing. But the thing that I have with The Woman in Black is the way that it was shot. What freaked me out the most was not only did, things happen out of the blue, very suddenly, but I think what made it worse was that when those things happened, the music in the movie wouldn't be there. There was no music. So, it was one of those things where we were in the movie theater and we heard, the music would stop and we were just like, oh my god, because we know something's gonna happen. And the fact that there's not music to add to the suspense, it's like the twisted thing where the fact that there is no music adds to the suspense. And I think that really freaked me out more. And then also at the very end of the movie, when she looks straight into the camera, that scared me too. I don't like the fact that they're making a second one. I'm probably not gonna watch it, especially since little children are involved. That makes it worse. I don't like what Ember said. Possessed fucking kids. Yeah, I'm not a fan. At the the Spirit Halloween store, they have these little stupid Halloween decorations of zombie babies that move. And, yeah, I could never work there. Number 3, I put Hannibal Rising. Now, I do like psychological thriller things that make me think, things that make me tick, kind of, or make me wonder how people tick. And the thing I like about the Hannibal movies is that you kind of get to the backstory to figure out why Hannibal is the way that he is, and kind of question if what he's done is justifiable or not in his own right, you know what I mean? What I do not like about Hannibal Rising, even though you understand why Hannibal did what he did, or does what he does, there's this one scene where he has one of the, because he's getting revenge on the soldier people that I think ate his sister during the war, because there was this giant winter storm and it was snowy and they couldn't leave, so they resorted to cannibalism, right? Hannibal the cannibal. Makes sense. So he's getting his revenge, and at one point, I think it's the guy became a scientist or some shit, and Hannibal finds him, or no, Hannibal's a scientist. I don't know, I only watched that movie once, but I do remember at this one point that Hannibal drops this guy into this weird encapsulated thing of water, inside of this room, and the guy can't swim, and then they have these door things on top of it, and it starts to close down on him, so Hannibal's drowning him, I will not watch that movie again because of that. That freaks me out. I'm claustrophobic myself, so the idea of being suffocated in that way really freaks me out. Especially as a form of torture, and especially, you know, if the guy who's, or whoever is doing it to me enjoys it, that just really freaks me the fuck out. But the 3.5 bit of this, which really does freak me out, and I don't think I would ever watch this episode again, was the first episode of not the old Doctor Who, but the new Doctor Who with the Ninth Doctor? Yeah, the very beginning episode with the mannequins. Mannequins freak me out. Not really by the way that they look. But the fact that when I walk through the mall, I feel like I'm really close to people that I don't want to be close to, and I, like, because they're kind of scattered everywhere, that I feel like I'm being followed by people I don't want to be followed by. Yeah, so I kind of do this weird, like, dance throughout the mall when I'm next to a mannequin. Don't like them. Then on to the movies that I do enjoy. This was a little bit more difficult, just because there actually are a few that I do enjoy. Number one, ironically enough, in comparison to the one I just talked about, I do like Silence of the Lambs. Probably one of my favorite movies. I would watch that if I was just bored. I'm fascinated. I was fascinated by Hannibal's story. I have the books. I haven't read them. Don't have time to. On Red Dragon was pretty good, but God, Anthony Hopkins, just the way that he did that character was absolutely phenomenal, and I really enjoyed trying to figure out the relationship between Clarice and Hannibal, because it's something that I still don't entirely understand. But I like trying to pick at it and try to figure out exactly what that relationship is. And what was very interesting is the fact, I mean, at least for me, that even though Hannibal is a cannibal that kills and eats people, you kind of like him. Or at least I did. I thought he was pretty charming, and that was, you know, one of those things where after I watched it, I'm like, why do I like this guy, you know? Like, trying to figure out myself, like, why do I enjoy this movie? Why do I like the fact that, you know, he's killed this guy, or the way that he did it, or, like, the messages that he gives out? Like, maybe it's just because he's intelligent? Like, I don't know. One of those things. Number 2... even though I have an issue with, like, as I said before, with torture, I love Stephen King. And I just, again, because I kind of choose not to watch scary movies all the time, this is a recent one, actually. I watched it during this summer for the first time, Misery. I know people are going to be like, oh, for the first time. Misery. Kathy Bates is fucking fantastic. I can totally see why she won the Oscar for that role. And in the same way that Anthony Hopkins plays this character, even though, you know, he is unsettling, and he's supposed to be unsettling, and that was the point. He never came off as being like this really friendly, like, you know, on my high horse kind of a guy. I kind of enjoyed that about him. In Misery, I think what the creep factor was definitely that Kathy Bates played this holier than thou, you know, coming off as a good Samaritan, and in her own psychologically twisted way kept doing things for the better good, like his readers. And so, sorry, boo bitch. And so I think that was the creepy thing. Like, that kind of made my mind whir a little bit. I did not like the fact that she broke his feet. And I love James Caan. I loved him in The Godfather. If people didn't recognize, that was Sonny. That was Sonny. Doesn't look like Sonny anymore. And it's also the dad in Elf, which was pretty great. But, like, the entire time I was watching this movie, I was just like, holy crap, this woman's fucking crazy, you know? But he doesn't say a damn thing until the end when he, like, hits her in the head with the was it the pig iron or something? And he's like, "You crazy fuck!" And I was just like, "Thank you for finally fucking saying it." Gotta love that. Yeah, and the idea of being kind of, I don't know, of being stuck in a situation that you don't want to be in really scares me. I have not seen Chucky, and I haven't seen Saw, and I refuse to see those movies. Like I said, I do not like scary little children, and I don't like dolls either. I like, I'm fine with stuffed animals, because they're animals. I have an issue with, like, porcelain dolls. I have issues with dolls that look like people. So yeah, I will not see Chucky. Saw, I have an issue with gore and torture. What's the other one? Oh, The Raven would be number 3. John Cusack was wonderful as Edgar Allan Poe, and I think he brought a more, I want to say that Edgar Allan Poe, the way that we learn about him is inhuman, or, I don't know, because there's such a myth surrounding him that we think of him as, like, this eerie, kind of ghostly, dark man. But what John Cusack did was he added this kind of layer of humanity and, like, light to him, where you realize, oh, he is just like another person. He's just been through a lot of shit. I like the thrill of that movie because I already like the Edgar Allan Poe stories and poems. I like the way that they were able to kind of add a weird kind of background to it and still left the mystery of his death in the beginning and the end of the film. And I really enjoy the fact that the kidnapper guy was able to, you know, put to life these horrific murderous tales that Poe had written and put them into effect in real life, and have the people he killed. Like, when I was young, I was 13 when I read The Pit and the Pendulum, and that story still scares the shit out of me. And, like, reading it was hard enough because, you know, that was all left to the imagination about how that would work and crap. But to actually see it on film was insane, because that was something I actually never wanted to see. So to actually see it, I was just like, holy crap! Yeah. And actually, I'm going to go off on 2 more that I actually do enjoy. The Conjuring, I know that people have put it on this list, and I can't tell if they actually like watching this movie or if they are scared by it. I am not really scared by The Conjuring. I thought it was a little bit too, like, I know that they have to have bits of it being lightened up, because if it's too heavy, people won't enjoy it. Kind of like in Macbeth, you have, well, in some Shakespearean plays, you have, like, the jokester kind of character. You have a little bit of comedic character show up to kind of break it up. Kind of like in Les Mis, where you have the Thénardiers. Like, everything in Les Mis sucks, and it's awful, and all this shit's happening, and then you have the Thénardiers that make you laugh. So, you know, people might actually have a moment of actually liking what they're reading or watching. But yeah, so in The Conjuring, I feel like if Patrick, what's his last name? Patrick What's-His-Face, the actor, and the girl who played Mary Warren, or the woman who played Mary Warren, would not have been like, God brought us together for a reason, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you're not doing this without me, and I don't want you in here, and I love you, and all that crap. I feel like if that wasn't in the story, it would have been much darker. But I like the fact that there actually was, like, a plot that you could kind of follow. That you know that in the end, everything's going to be okay. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the outfits that the Mary Warren woman wore. I actually liked her clothes a lot. Just kind of weird. You know, the very high collared sort of a thing. I just like the way that she looked. And, yeah. Then the fifth one on that, and then I'm going to shut up, is there's a there's late 80s or early 90s version of Phantom of the Opera. And I love that tale. I'm not even going to try to explain that in here. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. And I like seeing the different renditions of it and how people play on these characters and how they would twist it and, you know, try to get different meanings out of the same story. I'm not sure if Gaston Leroux would have appreciated that, but whatever. But anyways, Robert Englund, who Freddy Krueger, plays the Phantom, and as everybody already knows, that he has a very creepy face without having any makeup attached to it or prosthetics. He's already just kind of a creepy looking guy. Yeah, he plays the Phantom, and that's this version of the story is really weird because you have this kind of back and forth between time sort of a story. You got a bit of a time traveling and deja vu thing going on in the story. And this Phantom's a lot darker. He does kill a lot more people. Chops off their heads. I think disembowels some of them. Skins them. I think does he poke out the guy's eyes, or does he just... there's a scene in a sauna that's kind of weird. But at the very end of the movie, when it's in present day, not... I'm talking present day, I'm talking about like the 80s. You see that he has kind of lived all these years waiting for Christine to come back. And in the end, she starts to peel off his face, and it's like this dark, rotten, black, oozy, nasty stuff that's all over his face. And he's like wheezing, and he like comes after her, and there's something about that just freaked me out, just because of like his eyes, and like he was still persistent and still really psycho about the entire thing. So I like that movie because I like the way that they twisted the story around, and I like seeing different renditions of the Phantom of the Opera. But that scene scares the shit out of me, and I do not like it. Anyways, that's all I got. So I have to go back to writing this paper, but I hope you kind of maybe enjoyed this video. You probably didn't. You probably think I'm stupid. But whatever. Hope everyone is doing well, and see you next time.